Hey, I'm so excited. Yet another day doing this show. So, hang on.
Gotta love tech.
All right. Welcome everyone to another powerful Health, Wisdom, and Wealth show. I'm Velyn Hawkins, your host, and I'm really excited to be in this conversation. You know, a lot has come up of late about our subject matter for today. Leave it to your body to tell you what they don't tell you about sugar. What do you think it is that they don't tell you about sugar? We're going to be in that conversation with my guest today, Kathleen Carnegie-Grant. Welcome. If you've ever wanted to know the truth about anything health, wisdom, and wealth wise, it'll be spoken here. Kick back and listen, or better yet, pull up a chair to the table, get your notepad out and a pen, take some notes, participate in the conversation, hit me up in chat. We're looking forward to having this conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to say welcome, Kathleen. Kathleen is the CEO of RealSimple365. She's a certified holistic health coach, and she's right now studying to be board certified as a health and wellness coach. She's helps busy women conquer the everyday demands of work and life, which fuels their sugar cravings, to make simple changes for less stress, more energy, and a healthier body for life. Kathleen's creator of her proprietary S.I.M.P.L.E system that women can implement in their everyday lives. And whether you're an entrepreneur or someone who has a demanding corporate career, or you're in transition to a new chapter in your life, it's a safe bet to say that you're dealing with stress, frustration, and who knows what else. And not knowing how to kick the sugar habit can be problematic. So you're in for a great conversation as Kathleen shares her journey, her wisdom, and her solutions for kicking that sugar habit. I'm excited to be here with her today, and I just want to say, welcome, Kathleen.
Well, thank you so much, Velyn. I am so honored to be here with you today and excited
Awesome.
for our conversation.
Well, I am too. And, you know, you and I have shared so many things over the past just few years that we've known each other. It's one of those things where when we met, it was like fast friends, and little did we know we were in a whole nother state, a whole nother city when we met. And here we're like neighbors. And to know too that we are in a field that brings us together in such an amazing way to help so many people. And I appreciate you for that. I really do. So to get us started, how about you just tell us a little more about you, your journey towards this focus on sugar and helping women to recognize the effects and align with their solutions.
Yes, well, it started when I was a child. I grew up in the UK, and sugar was part of my everyday life. And it was sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon, sugar in the evening, everything sugar. Uh, Chocolate on the way to school, chocolate on the, back from school to home. And that was the lifestyle that I led as a child. And so it became a habit. And fast forward as an adult, I was doing the same thing, chocolate bars after work, after a stressful day. You know, I deserved it. And yet, for most of my life, I was a health nut, you know, what people would call a health nut. So I ate healthy, and I actually gave up sugar in tea and coffee when I was 19 years old and thought that was, oh, I was so special. I did not take sugar in my tea and coffee, yet I was still, you know, eating cakes and chocolate bars and just not being aware of how much I was consuming sugar. And of course, from a young age, I developed cavities in my molars. So I had like lots of fillings and thought, okay, this is just the way it is. I didn't think anything of it. And until a few years ago, I was trying to lose some weight and I was working out, you know, vigorously 5:30 in the morning and nothing would budge. But what I was doing was having a protein bar, two protein bars after I worked out because I deserved it. I just worked out, not realizing how much sugar was in those protein bars. And so I was doing the same thing, the same pattern that I had been um, living as a child, you know. And so it's really, I really had to take a stock of what I was doing. And I realized, oh, started reading labels. And then I actually did a detox program with raw foods. And that sort of propelled my journey into, you know, helping other women who suffer the same, you know, who go through the same thing, the sugar addiction.
I love that. And I think that you called it, you've explained what so many of us move through and journey through, you know, that time in life when we think what we're doing is what we're supposed to be doing. And we just don't even know until something happens or, you know, to wake us up or, you know, in a lot of instances, it's a health issue that actually wakes us up. You know, if somebody told me that I was pre-diabetic, I would want to know, well, first off, what does that mean? Second off, what am I doing to create that environment? And I know that, you know, that is part of the learning journey as well. We were talking a little earlier about being a lifelong learner. And, you know, I still have questions about that. Not that that is my issue, but the question about why everyone or most people who are suffering from some type of malady um, isn't asking the question, what am I doing to cause or perpetuate this? And people, I think, would be surprised to find out that in a lot of instances, it's sugar, wouldn't they?
Yes, and actually the real clincher in me taking a step backward, you know, back and asking myself, you know, what are you doing was my son. So my husband would buy ice cream and I would wait until everyone went to bed and start digging into the ice cream because on the surface, I was this health nut person, right? I lived a healthy lifestyle and my son called me out on it. He said, Ma, you're a hypocrite. What are you doing? You're supposed to you know, you're the one that's telling us to eat healthy and you're eating all these ice creams and, you know, hiding it. So I felt really, really ashamed that my son, you know, called me out on my stuff. So that is what really started me to look deep inside to find out, you know, why was I doing this? And for a lot of people, it's habit. For others, it's, it's today it's stress and
Mhm.
overwhelm. And food is very emotional. We have an emotional tie to food. And, my childhood was great. So I associated the chocolate and the ice cream with good times. So I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel good. And that was the trigger to feeling good when it that totally it was is opposite to that.
It's amazing how we, um, get started. We come awake to the idea, but then when we really do go and investigate within, we can come to what actually causes us to do the things that we do. And, I know that that is something that you help women with as they're going on their journey to explore, investigate, and create change. And so tell us, what are some of the biggest challenges that you find women have when they encounter issues with sugar or anything, overeating? You mentioned emotional overeating and just the whole stress factor.
Yes, it all comes down to being aware. And you know we're just so busy, you know going from our job to, we have children, we have older parents, and we're doing everything for everyone else, and they are just not aware of what they're doing, like myself. And one of the issues is they think that, they can't change, that this is, they hold on to, what they're doing. It's it's their way of being safe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so they just believe that, oh, this is the way it is. And just like my son brought my awareness, I help to bring their awareness to what they're really doing, and be start being mindful of their actions, because we're on so much automatic mode these days,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the challenges, one of the huge challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on automatic mode and or running so fast we can't keep up with ourselves. And you look back and say, where has the day gone? Or the week or the month, or like now we're in the second half of the year. And it's like, where did the first half go?
Right. And it's this time factor. We don't have time to do something for ourselves. We're doing for everyone else and everything else, whether it's our career, family, friends, we're doing everything for everyone else except ourselves. And so it's taking, being aware and taking the time to really reflect on, what you really want, how you really want to be, how you really want to feel, and knowing that, there's a different way and a better way.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is how we've been conditioned. There's not a better way. Go to school, get a job, work hard. And, one of the things that I heard growing up was Black women have to work 10 times harder than anyone else,
Yeah.
everyone else. And that means 20 times harder than some people.
Right.
And, you go after that. And then you get to a point where you're like, well, is that really true? And it's funny, someone said the other day, it's like 2 questions to always ask. And one of them is that true? And then, no, where did you hear that? And then who told you that?
Right.
And when you can answer those 2 questions, you really do question where the information came from. And a lot of us have heard you're the woman, you're responsible for making everyone happen. You put yourself last, whether you're, you know, um, a spouse or partner or a single parent, or even, I think that becomes something that single women, no children in, their 30s, 40s, and 50s end up contending with too. Well, I was supposed to be married. I was supposed to have children. I was supposed to, all of this stuff. And we don't realize that a lot of that lends to some of the things that become a trigger for our overeating, our emotional eating. And,
Right.
I say them separately, and give me your feedback on this. I see overeating as just over consuming for various and sundry reasons.
Right.
But emotional eating can be just the trigger that creates overeating, but it can also be maybe not so much overeating as much as eating the wrong things.
Yes. Yes, there's of course there's overeating, and most people who eat emotionally will say, I eat very little. I don't overeat. So what is why is this so? And it comes down to, yes, the triggers, and also the quality of the food or non-food that we're eating. We're eating on the run all the time. And most packaged foods contain more sugar than you can realize. And, we're on the run, and we're wearing it as a badge of honor that we're busy and we don't have time to cook. So, I have to get Chinese food. And by the way, Chinese food has sugar. Sugar makes everything taste great. And so
Mhm.
that is the secret in the food industry, in the packaged food industry, that they use sugar, and not just sugar, high fructose corn sugar in particular, which is the nemesis of all sugar, right? All sugar breaks down, but the high fructose corn sugar is a nemesis of all sugar because it can lead to fatty liver disease, actually non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Wow. And that should make those of us who are just hearing that for the first time to actually sit up, pause, and take notice, because again, there's so many things that we eat that, we're looking at the nutritional facts and it might say, you know 3 grams of sugar, but 3 grams of sugar, isn't that like a whole tablespoon or something? I mean, it's crazy the size that they say on the nutrition facts and the reality of what it looks like. It's like, let me just get a tablespoon.
Yeah, so there is, if I could get this right, there's I believe 4 grams of sugar to a teaspoon.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So,
so the worst type of sugar is liquid sugar. The juices, the sodas, that is the worst type of sugar because it goes straight to your bloodstream and boosts your blood sugar. So that's the worst type. And a lot of people think, juice is healthy. I used to think that. I used to drink orange juice every morning So it's actually better to eat an orange because it has vitamin C, it has the fiber. So once there's either protein or fiber in a fruit or whatever you're eating, then you don't have to worry about your blood sugar spiking because of either the protein or the fiber, which slows down the entrance into your bloodstream.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. And one of the things, and help me out with this as well, I remember reading a study about people with migraines. And a lot of research shows that sugar can be a cause of migraines. And I don't know what's going on up there, but it has something to do with the sugar metabolizing and in the bloodstream going to the brain. It's just not allowing for enough oxygen. And so, when I hear people say, I've got migraines and I suffer from these horrific migraines, and they're sitting there and they're drinking a soda and they say, but I'm not drinking any sugar. I don't do sugar. It's like, how do you respond to someone like that? To just allow them grace, but to also be, a disruptor of that kind of thinking.
Yeah. So sugar comes in all forms and it's like a stealth because there are 65 different names for sugar.
Wow.
And it all boils down to it's sugar. And, fruit has gotten a bad rap for people who are diabetic. And fruit, I'm all about whole foods, as you know. So we're taking fruit out of this, which contains fructose, but then the different names of sugar, you have malt barley. Oh, I can't remember a lot of them offhand, but molasses, maltodextrin, dextrin. I mean, and people see these different names and they're thinking, oh, yeah, that's not sugar. But then in one package, you can have dextrin, you can have molasses, you can have, you know, date sugar, you can have all these different types of sugar just in combination, just to give it that right flavor, that, that bliss point on your tongue, and that keeps you coming back for more. And so, I would say to that person, really, you have to start reading labels, really be aware, let me take your hand and show you what's really happening.
Yes. Yes. And, I know that that is where most people are beginning the journey, the understanding that these things are in most cases detrimental to our health. And in other cases, you mentioned the Bliss Point. You've got the big food companies out there testing the combinations of food in order to determine
Yes.
what would be good to the taste good to the palate, and that those food combinations always have sugar, salt, and oil all wrapped up in them.
Oh, yes.
And one of the things that's amazing is, for me, and it's something I think that a lot of people kind of know in the back of their minds, they know in their heart. The big food companies have um, come together, done this experiment, found the food combinations, and they're marketing the heck out of them. And we wonder why, that egg McMuffin with the orange juice, or the coffee with all the sugars and the creams, and why it just goes together so well.
Oh, perfect.
They planned it that way.
Yes.
And it does create a chemical reaction inside the body. It does create a chemical reaction that when it hits the bloodstream, goes to the brain, those combinations are addictive, just like heroin.
Yes.
Creating the endorphins that say, oh, I want more, I want more, and I want more. And that's how you can eat an egg McMuffin every day or whatever it is, you know, every day. And McDonald's, I'm going to give you a little credit here because you were one of the first to come with the little side salad that a lot of others in the industry followed suit with, but that also got you to sell more of the combinations that are still today probably worse than they were 10 years ago because our ingredients have changed. The level of flour and sugar and things, I mean, they've changed. We've seen it. The things that we had 10 years ago, I mean, we could go out and plant stuff just in the ground. And now we're concerned with groundwater runoff and things of that nature that we should very well be concerned about.
Right.
But that's just to point out that things are different today than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago, just like they were different then than before 10, 20, 30 years ago. And we have to accommodate that in that, you know, there's a lot of science-based evidence out there about the impact of sugar and how to recognize what you're feeling and consider it maybe sugar. But what's one of the biggest sources of information you found? What book or, you know, group or, you know, what's one of the biggest sources and resources out there is it for you?
Um, there is a book called it's called Sugar Fats. Oh my gosh, I have it here. Um, I have so many books and I am always reading, and even the Time, I have this right here. Time magazine has put out the Science of Sugar. Time magazine put out the Science of Sugar. So I have this, and there is another book that's really, it's been out a while. I just don't have it at my fingertips. But it's fat. I think it's called Fat, Sugar, Salt. Those three.
I think I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. It's a thick book, and so that's one of the biggest sources of information that you can glean from. Of course, you could start by simply reading labels, and just based on, 1 teaspoon to 4 grams, 1 teaspoon of sugar equals 4 grams, and go from there and calculate, how much sugar you are consuming. On average, the average person should not consume more than 6 grams of sugar at any one time. So when you think about even, soda, that's what, 40 grams of sugar? I don't know. It's like 2-3 days worth of sugar in one soda. And then the industry has also, they have zero Coke, the artificial sweeteners, and most people on the diets will say, I'm using, drinking zero Coke or whatever the artificial sweetener, aspartame, stevia is the natural artificial sweetener. The problem is that these sweeteners are super sweet, And the more sweet tasting you have, the more you're going to want sweet. So it's like a double indemnity. The thing you really want to do is to train your taste buds to appreciate natural sweet and, lower the taste bud for sweetness. And the
Yeah,
easiest way to do that is to start eating fruit instead of, for dessert, have a fruit instead of cake. It's easier said than done. But when you change your lifestyle to eating natural whole foods, then your taste buds will be recovered somewhat.
I agree. It really is about retraining your
Yeah.
taste buds, because sugar doesn't taste like I would think sugar to taste anymore. I like the sweetness of fruit, oranges, blueberries, strawberries. And I think too about the fact that, all that we're talking about, these are seasonal fruits, right? And so there is now one of the latest studies has really talked about how we should be eating seasonal fruits and from our own areas, which really goes to supporting the organic growers that are near us. But then it poses a problem. So how do you get the fruit that you like when it's out of season? And that's when you go to the grocery store and you can find, the watermelon, the seedless watermelon, which, watermelon's supposed to have seeds. Oranges are supposed to have seeds. Apples are supposed to have seeds. That's one huge clue that I don't know what happened. I was just looking, why does this watermelon not have seeds?
Yeah.
And I must have asked the question out loud because somebody said, well, and I thought, oh my gosh, because I used to eat watermelon and really hate it because there were so many seeds in it. And so you think you've got something really great with seedless watermelon, except that it's a little unnatural.
Yeah, like our cravings for convenience, right, is causing more havoc in our health and our bodies. And, we're saying, oh, we don't like the seeds. And then, oh, the industry listens and like, okay, let's go in the lab and see what we can do to solve this problem. And then we reap the repercussions later on. We don't know what the repercussions are. So if you can, as you said, if you can get the foods locally and seasonally, that's great. Frozen fruit, of course, allows us to eat certain fruits year round, or add them to, smoothies year round. And that's okay. I have no problem with that in general. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, I think this is the kind of information that people are searching for so that they can do a better job. It's, how did Maya Angelou put it? When you know better, you can do better. And we want to do better, but when we think that it's going to be hard, when we think that, oh, this option was available, but now that I know this, it's not available to me anymore. And we put ourselves in this space of contrast and stress. And so getting back to, this idea of cooking our meals, it's easier to do it raw. You don't have to spend the time cooking. But what are some of your favorite dishes? What do you like to prepare?
Oh, wow. I'm the type of cook that is, I call it inspired cooking. I get really excited when I have, especially when it's like I look in the fridge, look in the pantry, okay, what can I put together? And then just make this creation. And then my daughter says, Mom, this is great. Where's the recipe? So I do, oh gosh. Yeah, and it depends on the ingredient, what I love. So I love mushrooms, I love chickpea. Um, I did make a, uh, out of zucchini, what is it? A zoodles. You have the zucchini and you just have the spiralizer. And I made an Alfredo with chickpeas and olives, and the sauce was made from cashews. And my daughter absolutely loved it. She's like, I need to order this. You need to. But that's just, one of the things. And so when when my clients work with me and they're like, I don't know how to prepare, I'm like, you just have to. I go to recipes for inspiration, and then I sort of create my own, and that's how I want them to have fun with their own creations inspired maybe by a recipe. So you may not have all the ingredients, but what can I substitute? And so it makes it so much more fun, especially when you're not used to cooking. It's like you can't go wrong. This is, we're playing with the food here. Playtime with the food, and that's how I get in my zen. I get into a zen mode when I'm doing this, and it has to be simple. For me, it has to be simple because we're all busy. And so also with the flavors, so spices,
Yes.
and the different spices from the different cultures. So I help them to actually fall in love with food. And that's one of my things, I falling in love with food and getting excited about, the natural food that comes from the ground, grows on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go to the supermarket and you even, tomato sauce and you think, oh yes, it contains sugar and a lot more than it should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, one of the things that I've also done is used I buy dates and blend it, and also dried mango without added sugar. There's just a dried mango and blend it with some water, and that's a paste that I have. I can put it on bread, or I can put it in oatmeal and then add some nutmeg. And you don't need the table sugar. And then the dates are highly nutritious, incredibly nutritious.
They're very gut healthy, aren't they?
Yes. And then they have minerals and vitamins and
Mm-hmm.
fiber. So
Mm-hmm.
that is something. And when you get off sugar, it's a treat. So my next, venture is to creating more desserts without the sugar. And I'm busy right now with my studies, but I'm looking forward to, finding time to do that. And
Maybe we can do a show and you can actually work some stuff up with us while we're there watching or participating. Maybe we could set something like that up. I'd love that.
yes, and
And I think our audience would. Yeah,
smoothie is
yeah.
a great, you can get it thick enough that it becomes a dessert, like a acai bowl, but, using different fruits. It doesn't have to be acai.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you gradually appreciate the natural sugars that are naturally occurring in fruit and how delicious they can be. and you know, all the other foods like there's a Japanese sweet potato that is absolutely delicious.
That's the purple sweet potato,
The
right?
purple,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that you can have that to your heart's content. It's super sweet. It's highly nutritious, high in fiber, and you won't, you know, you won't feel left out. You won't feel guilty.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's so good. I love that. And I have seen some of the pictures that you have posted of some of the dishes that you've created. And I've just been like, oh my goodness, look at that. I could, my mouth was watering. I could kind of taste what you had in there. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that and your dessert recipes. And, you know, as we bring our conversation to a close, which I really always at this point, I wish we had hours and hours to be able to go here. Is there some wisdom that you believe is important to share with our audience? Something that you want to actually have a positive impact on our audience? Would you share that with us?
Sure. Um, so I would say if someone really wants to make a change in their life, right? Whether it's weight release, I don't want to say weight loss, weight release, whether it's feeling, having more energy, or, you know, wanting to be more active, I would say the first thing you do is not to look outside of yourself and what, you know, other people are doing, or, you know, getting inspiration from outside of yourself. Look within yourself first. Why do you want, you know, that weight to be released? Why do you want to feel more energy? The why is so important. And, you know, is it to be able to uh, you know, play with your grandchildren without getting out of breath, without feeling pain, you know, being able to run just like you did when you were younger, you know, whatever, hike, whatever that is. For me, it's creating a legacy of health for my family, being able to inspire my family and, you know, be an influence. So they say that, you know, we talk about wealth, but health is wealth, because without
Yes.
your health, wealth
What
doesn't mean a thing.
what have you? Yes.
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 And the next thing I would also advise is be kind to yourself on this journey of releasing weight, you know, getting healthy. Be kind to yourself. There's a quote that I saw recently by Glenn Lundy. He's an entrepreneur, and he's not like well known, but he's well known, you know, in his circle. And he said it's not the what was it? It's not the great things that you do, it's the small things that you do great. So you know, I'm a proponent for starting off with small, simple habits, one at a time, and making that change. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. And so um, a lot of, you know, the weight loss industry has said, you know, lose weight, you know, in 10 days, or lose 30 pounds in a month. And, you know, and then not thinking about really, you know, what's going on inside of the person. Why did they get to this point in the first place? And that person has to ask themselves that, you know, how did I get here, and why do I want to change? And it starts from within.
Oh, that is perfect. And you're so right. And that starting within includes having a desire to be the best that you can be. I mean, it's better than the US Army. You know, it's better than can I, and having the doubts in your mind that you can't. You can.
You
We
can.
have the ability, and there are people like Kathleen who are here to support and help you along the way. And you know, that's what our show is all about. We are here to help make a difference in the lives of people who know that there's a better way, and that food is a beginning of the journey
Yeah.
of creating your best self, your best life, your best health. And so I encourage our audience, you're going to find Kathleen's website information below this video. Feel free to check her out, reach out to her. The work that she's doing, the work that she's preparing to do. You know, that's something that I love about this lady too, is that, you know, she wants to be so well prepared for helping others that she is going for yet another certification, a board certification of health and wellness coach. And, you know, and it doesn't end there. And I love that too. We've been on this journey of learning in our own swim lanes and bringing it together for you today. It's just been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And I have to say, it's never too late. Your your body also is very forgiving, and you're never too old. I will be 65 next year.
Beautiful. I love it. Yes.
And it's like it's really a blessing, but I've enjoyed this journey, and there's still more to come. So I
Yes.
still have more to learn, and that's what I want to instill, in my clients, that this is
And
a journey.
I thank you for that. I thank you for your contribution in all of this. And to our audience, again, Kathleen's information is below. Make sure that you connect, reach out and connect, and let us know what you thought about the show. Let us know what you'd like to hear more about. Kathleen and I will be doing this again sometime in the near future, and it would be great to know what else you might be interested in knowing more about. And if you're a health wisdom or wealth practitioner and you'd like to share your knowledge and expertise with our audience to be in this conversation, reach out to me, PM me, message me on Facebook, send me an email, LinkedIn, I'm there. Thielen Hawkins at p3academy.com. Let's connect. And back to everyone, thank you for joining us today. We've got some exciting things coming up in future episodes, so stay tuned, turn on your notifications, and help us out. Share, please share this video, share others. You can find the entire seasons of our shows at the p3academy.com website, at the show page. And thank you for being here. Until next time, be well, live, love, be a bigger positive impact maker in the world. I love you. I thank you. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you, Lynn, for having me on.
Bye for now, everyone. We'll see you next week with another powerful show.
Bye-bye.